fast topic. Listen, this is so good. All right, here we go. Ready? I'm at the store yesterday and I'm grocery shopping just a little bit, just some stuff for dinner. So I was not in a rush, no big deal. And there was a cashier with no bagger. So we usually go to a store that has baggers, so you get out of there really fast. But it was just kind of an off time, it was a quiet time. So it was just the cashier and then a customer in front of me. And the cashier got done scanning all the customers' items and she started bagging everything and putting it to the end of the register so that the customer could grab it and put it in her cart. The customer chose to put her credit card in the kiosk, the credit card kiosk, take it out, and was standing there staring at the cashier that was bagging her groceries. And the customer leans over the kiosk to the cashier and says, "It says I'm waiting on the cashier." And I see the cashier look up like, "Yes, I know this, but I'm going to bag your groceries," right? She didn't say anything. She goes, "As soon as I'm done bagging your groceries, I will hit the button," and went back to bagging. But the customer visibly was upset. You could see that she took this really deep breath, like, why don't you just hit the button and then go back to bagging? There was no like, "Oh, no problem." No, I mean, she was like visibly upset that that's what the cashier said. And I was like, this is strange but interesting, because that's what we do, right? We watch things. So listen, I just want to talk about this really quick. Like, why do some people enter every situation like they're the main character and everyone else is an obstacle? Like, the button wasn't being pressed because the cashier was doing something else for the customer, but that's not what the customer wanted. So that person that was helping them and who was very polite was actually an obstacle. Weird, right? So let's talk about this. I'm going to call it the control reflex. Like, in other words, if I'm not actively managing a situation, I feel unsafe or not in control. Okay, we're going to use this customer as an example. Some people aren't actually like angry though, or they're not crabby. They're just maybe like anxious. I don't know if you've ever seen that before either. Instead of anxiety turning inward, it kind of turns outward into a control mechanism. Like, I'm reading this kiosk that says I'm waiting for the cashier. I'm not even realizing maybe that the cashier is still doing something else for me to get me through this line. But because I'm so concentrated on this kiosk that says I'm waiting on the cashier, I'm not realizing anything else around me, and we need to keep moving forward. The second that screen said, "waiting on cashier," maybe that customer's brain went, "Oh, something's wrong," or "the process has completely stopped," or "I need to fix this immediately because maybe she doesn't know," or "I need to acknowledge it right now," even though the cashier was bagging her groceries. So instead of observing reality of what was happening for her, like, in other words, the cashier's bagging my groceries. As soon as she's done, if she doesn't hit the button, maybe I'll say something. They reacted to this discomfort of waiting. Like, "Oh, I'm waiting. It's all about me. I'm waiting," even though she's helping me with my groceries. Have you ever seen this before? Or have you, in a similar situation where you can tell, like, oh, perfect example is at a coffee shop. You can see that maybe there's a customer waiting to take an order, but 3 people are making drinks for the 3 people that showed up before the customer that's waiting at the register. But sometimes they still say something like, "Can someone take my order?" But you can see that they are busy making drinks for people that came in before this customer. And you just kind of wonder, is it anxiety? Is it anxious? Is it this culture that we have right now of "I'm first, it's all about me, you need to help me immediately"? Is it that immediate reaction that we get on social media? Like, how fast, when you post something, is there a like on there from somebody else? It's milliseconds, right? Most times, And so I feel like in life, that's how some of us also respond. Like, I show up to something, in other words, I post something, or I'm here on your feed, you need to react with a thumbs up or a heart immediately. And we're not looking at what is happening around us. We're not observing everything. And I feel like as a society, we might need to get better at that or go back to it. You know, if you walk up to a register and you see that they're helping or doing something else, pause a moment. Give yourself a chance to take a break. Like, I'm going to take this 60 seconds and just breathe and think of the next thing I have to do while they're finishing their thing, because eventually they're going to see me. Now, if their back is towards you and it's been 5 minutes, which most of us would never even allow it to be 5 minutes, then maybe you can say something. You were patient enough, right? Of course, there's different situations. I'm talking about the immediate. So when people don't feel like they're in control, when there's anxiousness, when there's anxiety, when there's this me first mentality, people interrupt workers mid-task. They do. They hover over employees or even essential workers or anything like that. They want to know what you're doing and why aren't you helping me right away? They might repeat themselves immediately. They might sigh dramatically because they want to micromanage everyone around them. And really, it's almost not patience that they lack. Some are. So don't take me wrong here. Some people just don't have any patience. I've seen that. I work retail. But sometimes it's tolerance for uncertainty. So this episode is going to help you as the person that's the cashier or the essential worker or the person that has to help people, the public, right? So maybe it's not lack of patience from that customer. It's tolerance for uncertainty because they didn't get that like or that heart right away as fast as they would get on social media. The more anxious they are, the more controlling they become. I used to be like this, so I can speak to it. Okay, I can speak to it. I had a thyroid condition 15 years ago that caused tons of anxiety, anxiousness, plus I wasn't sleeping. And I felt like because I wasn't in control of my body, I had to be in control of everything else. And it's terrible because it causes just anxiety attacks. And when you keep this tunnel vision where you're like, you need to help me immediately because I have to continue going because I can't control what I'm doing right now. So I need to control you. That's not great. You know, it's almost like some people see a loading screen on their computer and they just don't know what to do. Like, it takes forever. Do you remember dial-up? Do you remember how long we had to stay with dial-up or rotary phones? Think of that. Years ago, I didn't have any, but years ago, the patience that people had, it's not there anymore because everything's immediate. It's like a snap of the fingers. Everything's immediate. So how do we work with people like this? Okay, so you're the cashier. You're bagging, working hard, getting people through the line, and someone leans over the kiosk, the credit card kiosk, and says, or the terminal, whatever you want to call it, and says, it says I'm waiting on you because this person needs to keep in control because she feels like the whole situation's paused. First of all, do not absorb their urgency as an emergency. I love that line. I wrote that last night. Don't absorb their urgency as your emergency. Just try to stay calm and literal. Like, in other words, I'm already doing something for this customer. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But the only reason that we're doing that is because we're protecting ourselves. Do not match their emotional speed. If you are truly doing the job that you have been taught to do and you are good at, don't match their emotional speed or need. So I thought the cashier handled it perfectly. As soon as I'm done bagging your groceries, I'm going to hit that button. In other words, I'm not going to stop doing this, hit the button, then go back to doing it. Let's just keep that flow going. She was clear, calm. There was no sarcasm, which I have to say, I might have been a little sarcastic. My last year working I'm still in retail, but my true Monday through Sunday retail job, I was a little sassy the last year. I didn't put up with too much. Sometimes it escalated things, and that's not good either because then that's only hurting myself. But this cashier was clear and calm. There was no sarcasm at all in her voice, and there was no escalation except for that the customer still breathed because they weren't in control of the situation. So the empathy blind spot that we'll say this is that customers stop seeing workers as humans when they see only functions. And kudos to the Starbucks company, because and I know I've seen a lot of TikToks on this, like, why are they asking me what I'm doing today? It's because they want you to stop seeing them as workers and they want you to start seeing them as humans. So I'm addicted to Starbucks. If you've listened long enough to both podcasts, I go almost every day, and I just have my favorite Starbucks people because they are kind. They will say, "What are you doing today?" And I'll say, "I'm working just like you," or they'll say something about the weather, or they'll say, something about something that's inside my car, like, "Oh, it looks like you got a backpack. You must be going somewhere," or whatever. And then it brings on this conversation of, they're not just handing me my coffee, they're human. They want to know what's happening in the outside world while they're hanging out at the window. They want you to see them as human and not just cashiers or workers or baristas. Like, we're all human here, right? And we're all working because we all got bills to pay. So people stop seeing workers as humans, right? It's kind of the deeper and sadder part of all of this. And that can be in any industry, okay? I'm just using this as an example because I noticed it yesterday. She was seeing a cashier function that wasn't moving fast enough for her. So when a human being operates at human speed, some people subconsciously experience it as a failure. Isn't that horrible? But again, it's the social media. It's the instant on Amazon. It's the tap to pay. It's the instant customer support, the same day delivery, the self-checkouts, right? That's why workers get treated like vending machines with no emotion. We all have emotion. I'm going to wrap this up quick because I could go on forever. At the end of the day, most people aren't waking up trying to ruin someone else's life at the grocery store. I promise you. Some people are stressed. They're overwhelmed. Maybe they've never learned patience. Maybe some people carry around anxiety disguised as frustration, which means that they have to control every situation. This is not an excuse. What I'm saying is, to the essential workers, cashiers, nurses, servers, I'm not going to name them all here because there's so many of us, retail workers, delivery drivers, teachers, call center employees, just anyone holding society together, all of us, right? Please remember this. A stranger's impatience is not proof that you are failing or that you're failing them at that moment that you failed. You are not responsible for regulating every adult emotion that walks into your line or into the lobby or, your workplace. If someone sighs because they had to wait 10 seconds while you were already helping them, that says more about the pace of modern life and that person themselves than it says about your value as a human being. It's just a job, right? And for everybody else listening, the next time you feel yourself getting irritated in public, please pause for a second and look around. That cashier may have been already standing there for 8 hours. The nurse may have not sat down ever on her shift today. The customer service rep may have already been yelled at 5 times before lunch, and then you're going to lean over while they're helping you and say, "It says I'm waiting for a cashier." Stop it. Or maybe that person helping you at the vet clinic, they're doing their job, but maybe you don't see it because they're not helping your puppy yet. Give it time. Take a breather. You don't need that immediate thumbs up or heart the second you walk in somewhere. I have one more example. There is a sweet, adorable bakery out by me that is family owned. They actually give you a minute, or they might finish something that they're doing and then walk up so that you can quickly make your decision and they can get you out of there. I was walking behind a customer. The customer walked up and I started looking at the case because they always have such unique and amazing things in there. I always want to look first and then order. And the person, the family member that owns the place, did not get up right away. She did look, like said, good morning, everyone, good morning. And as she was getting up, the customer in front of me turned to her and said, "Are you going to help me now?" It was the strangest thing to me. Like, we were acknowledged and she stood there. I mean, I'm telling you, it was 5 seconds. I am not even being dramatic. It was 10 seconds. And that's what they do because I visit often. They allow you to look and then they walk up and then you're out of there in even less than 5 seconds. Please be patient. Please notice your surroundings, people. We're all stressed at one moment or another, but real emotional maturity is realizing that everyone around you is carrying something as well. So maybe we all just try one thing this week. Patience. Take a deep breath, look around, and then say something if you absolutely have to. Talk to you next time.